Today you guys are going to learn to assess whiskey like a pro. Stick around, I'm going to take you through the basics of what it takes to assess a quality whiskey. Let's go. First off, we need to choose our glassware, and yes, this matters. We want to be able to get in there and pull out some nice nosing notes. So we are going to look for something with that nice tulip shape, just like this Glencairn or a Capita glass. Leave your rocks glass in the cupboard for this one. Okay, with that covered, we're going to want to get some whiskey into our glass. Now, we're not going to pour it in and go straight at it. Much like cooking a steak, we need to rest it. We need to allow this whiskey to sit in the glass for a minute or two, chill out, open up and relax. But while that's happening, we can look at a couple of things. First off, the colour of that whiskey. Now, are you going to tell a lot about the quality of the whiskey from the colour? Not really. There's a bit of a myth out there that the darker the whiskey, the better the quality, and I can tell you now, that's just not true. Now, while this is just relaxing that little bit, we can also look at something we call legs. And what that is these oily lines that run down the glass. We call those legs. Again, can you tell much about the whiskey from that? Not really. So now we get on to the fun stuff, actually trying to pull some notes out of this whiskey. So we're going to bring it up to our nose. How close you go, that's just up to you and how sensitive your nose is, but get it as close as you can, as close as you're comfortable with. Now we're going to move it around because any given day, one nostril can work better than the other. That's just the way we're built. So move it around, take some nice gentle breaths in. I like to do this with the mouth just ajar a little bit. It just kind of makes those notes easier to detect. And just see what you pick up. Don't look for anything specific. Don't hunt for things just because you've read them on the label. Just don't think about it too much. See what this whiskey reminds you of. For me on this one, I get that vanilla caramel combination that's just so prevalent with whiskey. And from there I get like green apple notes, a little bit of banana as well, but it really is a subjective thing. Let those notes come to you. Don't hunt for them. Now we're going to get into the fun part. This is what it's all about, the tasting of the whiskey. Now this is as simple as it sounds. We're just going to take a sip. Small sip, just like it's a hot drink, hot tea or coffee. You don't want to just flood your palate with it. Things will get overwhelmed. You'll start to numb your taste buds because of the high proof of the spirits in this drink. Now for me, I like to take the first sip without thinking about it too much. I just let that act as a palate cleanser. Just gets rid of anything that you've had throughout the day, like that morning coffee or smoko or lunch or wherever you are in your day. So first sip, and we don't think about it too much. We just let it cleanse our palate. I like to move it around the tongue, just both sides of the mouth, underneath as well. Then let it go down. Now what's going to happen is that alcohol is going to go down into your stomach. Your body temperature is going to instantly start to vaporize some of that alcohol. So you do get this kind of reverberation back up into your throat. And it's a bit of a journey in a way. There's some more tastes that will kind of come up as that's happening. But again, with your first sip, I don't think about that too much. It's the second one that we're really going to dive into and see what we can taste. So just before we do, back up to the nose because we've actually got some of that alcohol in our system now. It's evaporating up. We're getting some more sense from that, and you might even pull out a couple more nosing notes before you take that next sip. But with that, let's do it. So on this second sip, we want to really try and keep that whiskey in our mouth, move it across the palate, all around the mouth. Just let it kind of evolve in your mouth and then take it down. Cheers. And down. And we're really going to think about these tasting notes as they come up. Most whiskies will take you on a bit of a tasting journey. There'll be the initial notes that you get straight away. They will change and evolve into some different notes. And then what you're left with is what we call the finish. And that's kind of what lingers. And we're really looking for what those are and how long they linger for. Some whiskies can be a bit of a flash in the pan. And as quick as you swallow it, it's gone. For me, a really good quality whiskey will hang around for a long time. There'll be a lot of notes up the back end that just last. And you'll taste them for a good couple of minutes after you've swallowed that mouthful of whiskey. So more often than not, you will pick up the notes that you pulled nosing in the taste. So for me with the taste, I do get those notes that we picked up in the nosing, the vanillas, the caramels, But there's also like this cookie dough thing going on as well that I didn't get in the nosing, but I do get very much on the taste. And that's a beautiful part of doing this. Like, the things that you will pick up are subjective to you. No one can tell you that you're right or wrong, because the things you smell and the things you taste are not actually in this glass. They are just compounds that at the molecular level remind your brain of things you have experienced before. Now, I know people that take this stuff super serious. They'll keep logs and journals and diaries with scores and notes and reviews of every whiskey that they try. I don't get into all that. I like to keep it pretty loose. If I come across a new whiskey that I want to try, I'll run through it just as I have here today with you guys, and I will leave it pretty much just at that. Because the point is, there's always more whiskey out there to discover, to dive into, to pull those nosing and tasting notes from. And now that I've shown you guys how to do that, you can head out into the world and discover some for yourself. Happy drinking.